Nobody indeed. What is good? Welcome into Driving the Line. My name is Alan Bell, and we have got a great show lined up for you today. National championship game. We got Major League Baseball. Did I mention a national championship game? But before we get to that, all right, just want anybody out there to know. Sometimes you look and you say, I am just getting my ass kicked in betting. It has just been a bad week. Trust me. If you think it's only you, it's not only you. It happens to the best of us. Look at this. My God, 1-6, brutal. And it's been that way for me all week. But I come here to say it's betting. It happens. All right. Books caught up to us on the home runs. College baseball was just an absolute slaughterhouse this week. But I do say it to say, man, sometimes, look, just happens. Just get your ass kicked. Happens in sports, happens in betting, happens in all of it. So, number one, if you ever feel like it's just you, it ain't. Number two, face it, own it, eat it. There you go. Come back strong, man. Happens to all of us. So, say that to say this. Hit that Discord. And you know what? Folks in the crew got better bets than me over this past week, and you can find them all right there. Scan that QR code. Hit it. It's free. If you've never used Discord before, it's a lot like Slack. If you've never used Slack before, it's a lot like an AOL chat room. Jump on in. You can get the show anytime that you want it. Morning, noon, night, overnight. Hit it, man. It's a ton of fun. And Big Zach Phelps set it all up, got to all the polls, everything that you need. And the crew, I'm telling you, man, they bring it. So enough on that, man. Let's get right to it. Let's get to the picks because we got to get it popping today. Let's go. Fellas, looking good. My boy, Big Brad Betts. How we doing down there, Bo?
Doing great. Another great weekend. Another great week to look forward to. Champions League football on the schedule. Soccer fan, it's a great week.
All right, there we go. Same deal. Greg, my boy. What's up, man?
Yeah, happy Monday. Exciting week, exciting day ahead. We'll get started with the championship game tonight.
Yep, we definitely will, man. It's good to see you two boys here. And I tell you what, man, that's what teammates are for. I need a little pick me up. All right. Little assist here. All right. So let's jump right into the picks, and then we're going to break down. This is going to be the most fun national championship betting show that will be in the game today. I promise you that. We're going to have a lot of fun. But first, let's go ahead and get to our picks. Brad, leadoff hitter, man. You up first. What you got?
We're headed to the Danish Superligaen or the Denmark Superligaen, depending on what your book shows, in a matchup between Brøndby and AGF. We're taking that both teams to score at -135. Brøndby, they're coming in scoring in 27 of 29 home league matches. That is just about every single league match, or at home specifically. They're at home today. They've scored 2+ in 10 of 11 matches. They've conceded 2+ in 8 of the last 11, including conceding in 15 of the last 16, hitting both teams to score in 10 of their last 11 coming into it. So it's regular performance here on the home side, Brøndby, taking on the away side, AGF. AGF has scored in 31 of 34 in 22 of 25 league matches. Both teams really top scorers, and 9 straight matches they've scored versus Brøndby. So it's not just against others, it's also against their opponent today. They've conceded in 26 of 33 league matches, so both teams trending in that direction. 7 of their last 9 away from home have also hit both teams to score. And in this matchup history specifically, 4 of the last 5 matches which Brøndby have played AGF at home, both teams to score in, as well as 11 of the last 16 league matches that these two have played one another. So we're going to take that both teams to score between Brøndby and AGF in the Danish Superligaen or Denmark Superligaen at -135.
Nothing like a little Danish Super League to get this damn day going, boy. That's what we like right there. Brøndby. I like that name, man. That's solid. Dude, what do we got on the board? Well, I'll tell you what. We'll get to the board here in a minute because we always need to know what we got going on. All right, Greg, I'm throwing it over to you, buddy. 2-hole hitter. You got 3 plays, Major League Baseball. What you got, boy?
Yeah, we're keeping it West Coast. We are keeping it quite simple. Coming off that Dodgers weekend, a little bit lower scoring, kind of as expected with what is a really good Phillies team. We're going to go over 4.5 today. Think that the Dodgers bats get back in line. 1 inning away from this going every single game. And I like the spot today to go against Mackenzie Gore. So we'll see where the Nationals are able to hopefully keep down this Dodgers team. Now in the second part of a East Coast road trip. We will go with the Padres tonight. They get the the Sacramento visit, as they will head up to visit the Athletics, I guess we just call them now. Is that what it is? So they'll be getting a taste of Sacramento. Dodgers, Giants, Padres, all have been playing terrific. I think this continues. Padres, an offense that has been, someone on my radar. I think they were a little underrated this year. Preseason teams were a little down on them, and I think they've proven that wrong real quickly. Like the Dodgers, I like the Padres tonight, and like I said, we'll keep it West Coast. Like the Giants this evening as well. Love the spot. Love another victory like they got yesterday with the walk-off. They're still on the West Coast. Hard to go against what a team is that when they're hot, like I've said before, don't try to catch a falling sword. This is one of those examples. We do also have future 7.5 or 8-1 that we gave out on here and to our clients for Florida tonight as well with the NCAA game.
Florida plus, 800. Dude, solid. Now, Brad, I saw. All right, first off, great job, Greg. Excellent job, man. Brad, in the chat, Ty had asked a question. Looked like you answered it, but if you wouldn't mind answering on the show, because I think it would help all of us. Ty says, I've been studying corner props, Brad. Do you have any tips on betting those?
Bit of a product of the match. So sometimes you'll just not have corners because of the way two teams have played, or if there's an early goal or if there's not an early goal. Everything is situational. It depends on who's at home, the favorite, versus who's away, the underdog. What you're really looking for is kind of a product of a twofold format here. You want a team who's got really fast wingers, i.e. a Real Madrid over in Spain's La Liga. They will drive the ball to the line, take that defender on one-on-one. And when you do that and you get the ball to the line for crosses, that defender is forced to try to put their ball in front or put their foot in front of the ball, get that deflection, and it will go out for a corner. That's one product of corners, as well as if there's a team that is winning early or mid team, maybe up a couple, and that will draw them back into their own defensive zone. When you have a team that is sitting in deep with a lead, they will tend to push that ball out for a corner. So a team will shell out, attack more, send in a lot more balls. And that team is just kind of saying, hey, we don't want to give up any goals. So we're comfortable getting this ball out on the end line. We just need to get a touch to it to make sure that that ball doesn't get into a difficult situation. So sometimes corners are a bit of a product of the match. They're very difficult to bet only if you don't have an edge, like a team like Arsenal. This side. My Gunners are a corner team, one of the few that you actually have in the world of football. They are struggling with their attackers. So when they don't have a lot of product in that front end, they tend to stick to overloading the box or trying to get a ball out for a corner because it gives them a really good chance to score. So that's a really loaded answer to a difficult question. Corners, I tend to stay away from them altogether unless you have a team that's maybe down by 1 or 2 goals at halftime, and you know that team's going to have to push forward. When a team has to push forward, they're going to overload, and they're going to get more balls into the box, giving it more of an opportunity to get the ball out over the end line, which is for a corner.
You beautiful son of a gun. Excellent job right there, man.
And
Excellent
I did
job.
want to make one more point. I just
thought,
they're about to change the rule in the world of football. For those who are totally unfamiliar, there's a rule where the goalkeeper can only hold the ball for 8 seconds. After 8 seconds, right now, there's not really a rule that says what they're supposed to do. It's under the referee's discretion. He just says, hey, you held the ball for too long. We're going to give you a yellow card, maybe a dead ball, indirect free kick in the box. That is not a utilized situation very often. The referees do not want to call that. It's weird. It puts the game into a different light. People don't like it. So they're instituting a rule that's going into effect that if the goalkeeper holds the ball for longer than 8 seconds, it's going to automatically be a corner immediately. So next season, or when this rule is implemented, you could see a totally different version of the corner kick and totals. So it's something to watch, and we want to keep our focus on that. But for right now, corners are a bit too tricky for my liking.
So goalies, they're going to have to scoot it and boot it. They don't have any time back there, huh?
The old rule, it used to be that there's a couple rules for the goalkeeper. You had the 8, now they instituted the 8-second rule. It used to be an 8-step rule. So the goalkeeper would pick it up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and he has to punt the ball. Or it would be that indirect free kick. And referees did not want to call it. You'd see goalkeepers, 16, 17 steps, and people would just be like, what is going on? So this is a product of the world of football, really trying to hone in on some of those rules to make it kind of fair for both teams and not waste as much time as they're doing.
Both teams, to be fair. My man, you just blasted that. That was an excellent job, dude. And, look, Melanie Sue, all right, the Minister of Culture says, if they hold the ball for 8 seconds, they get a kick in their box. That sounds painful on a Monday. Nobody wants that one at all. Melanie, well done. That was funny. And Brad, great job, man. Crushed that one, dude. Great answer. All right, my picks today, I'm going Cardinals Pirates over 8. Two teams that actually hit the ball, and we're going to have solid weather in here. I love getting it at 8. We get insurance here. Solid. We might as well 10. Rangers Cubs. All right. Over 6. And you can actually get this over 5.5 at a couple books. So pay attention there, and for reasonable juice. So pay attention. Jason, I'm laughing at your comment. So shop your books. You could get 5.5. We're going to talk weather here in just 1 second. And then finally, Tony asked in the chat, or I said in the chat, AB's taking an under. Yeah, you know what? Going back to when you get your tailgate tuned up, all right, a lot of betting has to do with, are you disciplined enough to take unders? Are you disciplined enough to bet underdogs, right? And that's where I need to get better. So I say that, and there's 190 points scored tonight, but no, that's what it's about, man. And anytime that you go through a slump, you need to check yourself, and you need to just make sure that your fundamentals are solid, man, just like anything playing any sport. So I do think that in this game, there are more ways to hit the under than there are the over, right? Not saying it has to be a perfect game tonight in the College Basketball National Championship to get over 141.5, because, I mean, look, Florida's hit the over in 11 out of the last 12 games. But man, it's a title game. And I think that we're going to see just spurts of droughts of scoring. And we'll talk about it here in a second because, Greg, I see you shaking your head. Like, I agree. Like, it doesn't take a lot of them, a couple minutes here and there, 2 minutes here, 3 minutes later. Like, I think that we're going to see that tonight. So we'll take Florida Houston under 141.5. So those are our picks. We'll get back to those in just a minute. But like I said, this show is going to be a lot of college basketball, and we are, going to have, like I said, absolute fun games of all the different ways that we can bet it. All right. So let's jump into it right now. All right. So we see here the line hasn't changed. Spread hasn't changed. Money line, total, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, will it before the tip-off tonight? Probably. But probably not going to be that far. All right. So first off, okay, I'm going to ask you guys, and drop your answers in the chat as well. Okay. So, Brad, Greg, I'll start with you. Okay. You get $100 free bet. All right. That you have to put on one of these 6 plays. Okay. Spread either way, total either way, money line either way. All right. Where would you go? I think you're on mute.
I would stick with where we got started. Quite frankly, I think I'd stick with the Florida Gators. I like the spot on the money line. The 1.5 is fine, but minus 115, I'd rather take any and all pieces of drama out of it. Take the Gators, like them on the money line. We look at the fact that we have that future and just knowing what the value is versus what it still is. I think that Houston, with the comeback of all comebacks, and same to be said with Florida with that terrific second half return. But I think that this is a spot where I think Florida really can benefit the fact that Houston did them the ultimate favor in taking out Duke, who completely collapsed in that last 10.5 minutes.
All right, Brad, where are you going?
Well, maybe we saddle up Haas here because I want to take Houston on the ML. I have no real rationale why, but it's just down to the defense that I kind of saw at the end of that match against Duke. I did tune into the latter half of that. And what it just looked like is these 5 guys for Houston and the camaraderie that they play together. It just seems like they're in sync. Even when they miss a shot, they're good at boxing out, getting that rebound. They're real feisty. And I like a team that's feisty, team that's hungry, and a team that really plays defense well. In basketball, they match up. So I'm going to take Houston. I got really lucky, took that plus 500 on Houston playing Florida in the final. I also hit on the other previous basketball bet that we had on Friday. So that means you definitely need to fade me this time and take California wager with Florida on the ML. But I did see a few Houston bets in the chat. So maybe we do need to saddle up Haas.
Hey, you know what? First off, all right, I'll tell you this. All right, so first off, you did. Bro, on Friday, you not only hit those, all right, you hit the exact matchup, and you hit Aaron Judge hitting a home run as well. Like, you absolutely crush it. And, well, you already called for it. All right, so the rules will be this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, we will give out, let's see. We'll give out $100. All right, everybody in the chat, type Brad or Greg, all right? Either one that you're with, all right? And whichever one wins, all right, I will choose from those, and I'll give out 4 $25 Venmos tomorrow morning. All right, so type Brad or Greg in the chat, and whichever group of folks are on the winning side of that, I'll go through the chat, right? And if Brad wins, I'll select 4 Brads. If Greg wins, I'll select 4 Gregs. And we'll give out $100, $25 Venmos to 4 folks. So drop those in. Again, I'm on the under here. I saw Spell Dog in the chat ask, would you play it under 140.5? Yeah, I would. I wouldn't go any further down. We've seen a ton of fouls. We've seen a ton of free throw attempts. So that is going to happen tonight. And Houston is aggressive as hell. So is Florida. But Houston is, I mean, their team is absolutely built on playing aggressive in the paint. So you can see Florida getting to the line, and you can see Houston doing it too. So, yeah, Spell Dog, there we go. Big dog right there. Okay, so that is just a look at the actual spreads, totals, money lines. You guys ready to play some games? Have some fun. That sound fun? Huh? All right. I sounded like one of those goofy stepdads trying to get the kids to call him dad. All right. So let's take a look at some information first. All right. Average per game scores. Okay. So pop back real quick. Remember this. 1.5 Florida, total 141.5. So went through every game in the NCAA tournament that both these teams have played. All right. And averaged up the points scored, points allowed. Florida through 5 games, averaging a game of 84-73. All right. 157 total points per game through all 5. That's the average of all of it, each 5. Houston, 72-59. All right. 131 total points per game with both teams. So you see that huge discrepancy, and that's why you see, all right, 141.5. So those are your numbers, okay? Now, we'll get to this in a second, but Florida, I mean, we've seen it all week. 4-1 to the over, Houston 2-3 to the over, Houston 3-2 against the spread, Florida 2-3 against the spread. Now, let's have some fun. So first off, okay, Brad, I'll throw it to you first. Florida, and everybody in the crew, drop yours in the chat and hit the like button if you don't mind. That would help tremendously for all the people that saw my picks yesterday and said, I am never coming back to this show ever again. So you can help me out with that one. All right. So Florida, total points. Okay. You see the numbers here. Florida over 68.5. You're playing that over minus 175. So let's find our even point. 71.5, essentially. Florida right there, minus 105 to the over. Okay. Brad, you go first. Where are you going?
I'm going to take the over just solely based on free throws, not necessarily baskets made and and 3-pointers and real efficient offense. I think it's going to come down to that end time where you have a really important game and people just don't want to lose. So they're going to give themselves as much of a chance as they can. So I think the team total for both teams possibly shoot over, but I think that first half is going to go under.
Okay. All right. We'll get to that one. All right. Greg, where are you going?
Yeah, I agree. I think in terms of, the problem that we see, and we saw it 2 days ago, is, those late game moments. And it was funny. We were out to my buddy's birthday and there was legitimately 44.7 seconds left. And my buddies and the kids come over and I was like, all right, hey, let's finish this. How much time's left? I was like, well, real time or basketball time? And it was, I'm not kidding, 17 minutes later when finally those 44 seconds had ticked off. That's always the fear with those totals, is the end of the game. How many free throws are going to be? How many are going to be made? To me, it's hard to ignore. I look at the over for it. There is a little bit of value. I could see Florida finding a way to get there, especially with the way they've been able to return in the second half. They've been pushed these first halves as expected, change of venue each new time basically, and getting adjusted to that, nerves, everything else that comes with it. I think that the over with the value has potential, but more specifically, probably the second half over.
Gotcha. Okay. And for anybody that's looking at the total, again, a lot of different ways go over and under. I mean, total in the game, 141.5, just a score, 72-70, right? Like that's roughly what you're looking at. If you're looking at the over, if you're looking at the under, 70-69. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of the numbers you want to think if you're looking at playing the over, the under there. Okay. So that's Florida. Let's jump over to Houston. All right, Greg, go first. All right. So our even point here is 70.5. All right. Minus 118 on both sides. And we take a look here again, 70.5, 71.5 for Florida. So the books are kind of telling you a 71-70 game. Okay. Just kind of on average. So we'll just put it at 70.5. You going over or under, Greg, for Houston?
I mean, if I'm going to correlate it with Florida winning, I guess I'd have to go under. We've also seen, a couple different times, I think it was the Sweet 16 where, the lid was on the rim and Houston could not hit anything. So there are moments where, this team does struggle. There was potential that they could have lost, this last game by 20 points had Duke not choked it away. The biggest concern too with Duke was that youth. There was a ton of it on that team. They hadn't been there. There's a lot to it, knowing that you're 10 minutes away from a championship game. And, they did look ahead and they got caught. And sometimes with the way that Houston had to battle just to get here, yes, I know it's a championship game. Look how much work they had to do less than 48 hours ago. Takes a toll on that body, takes a toll on those legs. A lot of that, and at the end of the day, especially with how Houston prides himself defensively, is going to come with jump shots. So with that, I think that, the under has a chance to get there. So we would lean there. We'd think that Florida, Florida prevails.
Yep. And, look, we see good comments on both sides here. Z-Money, Florida gets it to 70. They win. Houston's endurance is unmatched. Their team average mile is 5:19, but they just finished a dogfight. Will they have their legs late again? And then Curtis said both of them are correct. Florida also had a dogfight. Florida's had almost all dogfights, right? I mean, that's basically 3 comebacks that they've had. UConn, let me just keep going. All right, Florida also had a dogfight. They were down 8 in the second half. Yeah, man, for sure. So, Brad, I throw it to you, man. Houston, over under 70.5.
I think I'm going to take over solely because what I see between those last 2 matchups was Duke was the heavy favorite. Yes, that they lost and Houston won, but people are only surprised at the Houston win because Duke was good. So with Florida over Auburn, people were kind of going back and forth, I feel like, between who's the better team. And Florida's had some tough games. I think they got over that line, but I think Houston is going to come out. They're going to get Florida into foul trouble. That's what I really think is going to happen. And if there's any foul trouble at all, either side, I think that's going to win the game personally. So I'm going to go over on those Houston points. They may limp into those points of 72, maybe 71, maybe. But that's where I think it goes, just solely based on foul trouble.
Gotcha. Yeah, look, Foul trouble could be a thing. I mean, this might have been the most foul called NCAA tournament I think that I've ever seen. And quite frankly, I feel like a lot of folks are thinking, actually, Houston didn't get called for that many fouls throughout, right? And as aggressive as they play. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying, comments that, I've seen on Twitter and whatnot. But that's a great point, man, for sure. All right. So those are team total points. Okay. Games keep going, Bubba. All right. First half. Now, remember, Houston has hit the first half under in 8 of their last 10 games. They are a boa constrictor in the first half of games. They just choke you out. Look at this here, okay? Houston is favored in the first half by 0.5 point, all right? They're underdogs 1.5 points through the game. But in the first half, they are favored, okay? Over under of 66.5. All right, money lines are playable. So again, all 6 of these are playable. So we go back to our game of you get $100, but you have to place it on one of these 6. All right, Greg, I'll throw it over to you first. Got to be one of these 6. Which way would you go? And this is the first half.
I mean, yeah, I'll back up what we were just saying, like Brad said too, is that first half under. I think that we've seen the example. You're not gonna win the game in the first half, but you sure can lose it. So I think both these teams are going to stick close to the vest. I think we'll see a little bit more of a set offensive game. People getting their feet wet again. There's a lot to this. You also don't want to get anybody in foul trouble early. It's like a prize fight. There is a lot of feeling out early with these kind of championship games. It's second time in the arena. There's a lot to it. I would expect there's going to be, a little bit of offensive struggles like we've seen before. And if that happens, it's going to come early. So, give me the under, 56.5. I think that's 65.5. Excuse me, dyslexia.
I'll give you a few more points.
Give me dyslexia for 100. But yeah, the 65.5 would be, to me, the best spot.
That was good. That was really good. All right, Brad, I throw it over to you, man. You got to pick one of them here. Where you going?
Yeah, I really want to fade Greg, but I don't think I'm going to do that in this category. I like to just give him a little bit of a nudge. But no, I think he's absolutely spot on with his under. I think we could see some tired legs to start, maybe some bricks and some tight defense. I'm going to relate this to soccer. A lot of times in the first half, you can start out pretty slow. And that's just solely based on, I don't want to get a deficit early in this match and put myself into a hole. So I want to be a little bit more complacent, maybe run a little bit more sets, a little more side to side, less of those just Hail Mary 3-pointers or shots from outside the box in soccer terms. So I'm going to take that first half under, followed by a nice quick second half where they're looking to put more points up on the board.
There we go. Okay. Now, all right. Addison. Under Mifflin. Nice Office reference right there. That was solid, man. Let's see what we got. Rick said, if you want to bet a side, bet it live. See how the refs are calling it. John said, firmly believe Florida plays flat first half, then beat them like a drum on the second half. Max taking a shot at you. Said, I don't know if I can tell Brad since he supports Arsenal and just get second on everything he places. That one's solid. Bibbo, I have 100 on Houston future. I made 10 days plus 600, so got to ride with Houston. There you go. Rick, Houston first half under 34.5. My boy Stripe said, think Houston has a better chance of forcing their tip on Florida than vice versa. Unders are key. Yeah, agree with there. Nice Bill got Houston winning it in the DTL bracket. Okay, so that's the first half. But we continue, okay? Florida team dunks in the game. And yes, this is a real bet. I got this at BetMGM. All right, through the entire game. Will Florida have over or under 2.5 dunks? Greg, throw it over you first. What you got?
Over. I think that with the tempo and the way that Houston plays defense, either there's a chance where somebody misses and it's going to be a wide open one. There's chances for alley-oops, the way that they can double at times. And, the end of the game, somebody wants to show off for their girlfriend. Impossible to take the under. I would take the over.
All right. Brad, where you going?
Well, first off, you should listen to Greg on every one of his takes, not mine. So I want to say that to the chat. Even if I get a little spicy, it's just for fun. Greg is the man. He's an absolute genius. But as far as dunks, I'm going to say under. I'm going to get that plus money, and I'm for the sole purpose of I don't think Houston's going to want to let them have a dunk. They're going to contest every single challenge to the basket, and 2 points, for free 2 points in this game could be detrimental to either side. So give me a hack at the basket for a foul every time.
There we go. Look, KC3 said, morning crew, open my phone to see this play. Love this degenerate bet. I'm telling you, man. Curtis said, Elijah Martin dunking 3 times by himself. There we go. Jason said, what book has dunks? I got this at BetMGM. All right. So BetMGM, but I'm sure that, other major books are going to have all kinds and probably different props, right, in ways to play it. But this one is at BetMGM. I believe it's under game props. Click in the game and you'll see. But that's where I've got a BetMGM. Where can I find these fucking props? I'm not sure. I'll have to take a look afterward, but I got these at BetMGM. Okay, so that's Florida. Yeah, go ahead. What up?
You might, if I ask Greg a question real quick, I've been seeing a lot of social media presence on the 1st to 10 market. So running in who hits 10 points first. People seem to really, really like this market. And I didn't know if you had an opinion. I kind of like that market. Quick hitters. A lot of times you can take, that's my pup. Sorry. A lot of times you can take these teams and you can see like how they start out games, if they come out with smart sets. But these 1st to 10 bets are a lot of fun. I didn't know if you had an opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I would compare it to, I guess, like a Nerfy or first 3, I guess, for baseball or, for soccer. I know you guys have bracketed, don't you have first 10 or first, there's shorter periods. So, I think it is a good way for the books too, to jump on action and get people moving. And, if you do have a good angle on a game and, you want to back it up, it is a good way too. Jump on that early and kind of fade along. This is a game where, even though I think Florida does prevail, I do, like I've seen in the chat as well, I think Houston has no problem setting their tempo from the start. Again, they are playing close to home. This is a big deal. I don't know if you'll necessarily get that home court advantage, but there's that home field that you are, near where you've been playing, where you've grown. There's a lot to it. I think that at the same time, this just feels like, as you mentioned with soccer, I think a game where there is feeling out to each other. And it wouldn't surprise me if Houston gets their feet under them a little quicker and is able to establish for the first, 5-10 minutes of this game, whether it's sexy or not, that's really not the point. They just want to continue to battle and keep the game close as, get to the last 5 minutes with, a fighter's chance. So wouldn't surprise me if Houston did prevail with that first to 10.
Nice. Good answer right there. All right. That's Florida. Houston. Okay. Now, Brad, I throw it over to you first. Houston. Total team dunks over 2.5 at plus 130. Under 2.5 minus 175. Brad, where are you going here?
Give me the plus money. I think it could go either way. And if you're going to get plus 130 versus or minus 175, just give me the plus money.
Right, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way I could take the minus 175. A couple slips that it's a dunk. It doesn't always have to be an intended alley-oop. So give me the over, especially for that number.
Yeah, and especially for a team that hits the board so aggressive too, right? I mean, you could get this at the end of the game. You could get this, just again, right bounce of the ball on a board, offensive. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, I mean, over 2.5. I think I'm gonna play that. It's a solid number right there. Okay, the last one, and we'll get into some Major League Baseball here. Okay, winning margin of the game. Okay, Florida wins by 1 to 5 points plus 425. Houston wins by 1 to 5 points plus 400. Florida wins by 6 to 10 points plus 450. Houston wins by 6 to 10 points plus 500. Florida wins by 11 to 15 points plus 700. Houston wins by 11 to 15 points plus 750. Greg, you go first here. All right. You got to pick one of these. Which way do you go?
I'd go Florida by 1 to 6. I get just primarily from the fact that Houston won't go away. And, at the end of these games, teams aren't worried about, pulling away. It's about hitting your free throws, going 2 for 2 if you need to. And, I wouldn't expect this to be a double-digit finish. I just think that no matter how this comes, finishes, it's going to be 3-4 point game. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if it's closer than that, as the number indicates. So, getting over 4-1 with basically a money line winner is not too bad there.
No. And you want to know a secret? If you could select the team that you want to win, okay, and you think it's going to be below 16, essentially, you could take, you're picking Florida to win the game. All right. You could put the same unit, right? Let's just say $10. You could put $10 on Florida by 1-5, $10 on Florida by 6-10, and you could put $10 on Florida by 11-15, plus 425, plus 450, plus 700. If you put the same amount on all three, if it falls anywhere, you automatically profit, right? Because you're going to get one of those three if it falls and you have the right team, if you place the same unit amount. So you're going to lose the other two, but it would take, say it's Florida 1-5, that 4 plus 425, essentially you're going to win plus 225, right? Like you're going to take 2 units off of the win. If it was Florida by 6-10, you'd win plus 250. It's Florida by 11-15, you win plus 500, right? So you could do it if you put the same unit amount on all three, and you obviously get the team that wins, and it falls below 16. If it goes 16 or more, you're screwed because you lose all three of them, right? That's your risk there. But if it's 15 points or fewer and you get the right winner, there you go, right there. Or you could play it Florida by 1-5 and Houston by 1-5. If you think it's going to be like, you could essentially play both of those at the same unit. And now you've got you've got 5 points to work with instead of 1.5 for money line. You could do that and you would win either plus 225 or plus 200. So you could actually use this to beat the books and move the spread to 5 or below. Now it's got to fall in that category, but there are ways like you could use this winning margin to shove the numbers right back up the books tailgate right there. So there is a, kind of a degenerate way to use math against them. But again, there's risk there too, because if it's 6 or more, you lose both of them, right? So I say all that. Brad, throw it to you, man.
That's a tough one. I'm going to take Houston by 1-5 plus 400. Yeah, nice close game to the wire.
There we go. Short and sweet, right to the point. Absolutely love it. Okay, let's get our picks back up here on the screen because I'm sure we got some folks that jumped in after we gave those. Brad, start us off, man. What you got?
We're headed to the Danish Super League today at noon Central Time in a match between Brøndby and AGF. We're taking both teams to score at minus 135. Brøndby come in hitting both teams to score in 10 of their last 11. AGF come in hitting both teams to score in 7 of their last 9 away matches. They've hit both teams to score when they play one another for the last 5 home matches for Brøndby, taking both teams to score minus 135.
Nice work. Greg, what do you got, bud?
Yeah, we're staying West Coast, like I said today. Dodgers team total, we're going over 4.5, and love this number whenever it's available. We will be jumping on the Padres at their first trip to Sacramento, and we will keep riding with the San Francisco Giants.
Nice work, man. I'm going Cardinals Pirates over 8 at minus 110. Rangers Cubs over 6 at minus 110. And then Florida and Houston tonight in the national championship game basketball of under 141.5. Liddy said it best. Reminder, smash that like button, please. Yeah, that would be great if anybody would mind hitting that. That would help us out a ton. Okay, so those are our picks. Now, let me pull that off, and we need to talk Major League Baseball. Okay, now we've got night games today. I think we have 1 or 2 day games. I know the Yankees and the Pirates here. Sorry. Let me hit the stats here real quick. Again, Florida basketball. They've hit their team total over in 14 of their last 18 games. And then you look at Houston, we mentioned it. They've hit the first half under, all right, in 8 of their last 10 ball games here. As for the DTL bracket, all right, obviously it comes down to tonight. Now, look at 1 through 5. Florida. All right, Kathy, Mama Tanner leading. All right, if Florida wins, she wins. Okay, look, Seth doing a great job there in second. DJ right there in third. But if Houston wins, Seattle Dev is bringing it home right there. So, all right, we've got both of these essentially coming down. Houston or Florida, there is our bracket. And we'll get the prizes and all that set up tomorrow and announcements in regards to that. Okay. Now, Major League Baseball. So, weather that we have today. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat there. All right. So, we've got Yankees and the Tigers. First off, all right, 3:10 p.m. Eastern, first pitch. We've got wind blowing out. All right, 17 miles an hour. Now, look at the temperatures. All right, 42 it feels like, or 42 degrees feels like 31, 29, and 26. Cold here. Greg, I throw it over to you, man. All right, both from a pitching and a hitting perspective. All right, you've got wind, but it's cold, brother. How do you approach a game like this?
I mean, it's great. You've got the wind at your back, but it also feels like you're hitting a rock half the time when it's that cold. So definitely a difficult situation. However, what you will say, and we watched in the Florida State game yesterday was, you put the ball in the air and it's going to do damage. It turns everything into extra bases. Sacrifice flies become a lot easier. Boy, though, it's miserable to play in the cold. However, it's also tough to play defense in the cold. You're not wanting to chase anything around there. Ball's going to be flying all over the place with the wind blowing like that. It also leads to those, pop-ups and jam shots that do fall into outfielders, little nightmare Bermuda triangles, decent sized outfield too. In Detroit, if we were playing in New York, it'd be different because you can basically play at the wall and just, it's either a home run or you've got a chance to play it there. So, different perspective. But, it would be hard to take the under again today. Two guys that are both definitely prone to home runs as well. We're not getting massive strikeout guys in their prime at the moment. And with what the Yankees have continued to do with an offense that can hit home runs all over the place, it's, hard to ignore and look at an under in any way.
Yep. Completely agree. And look at the wind, too. It's going to start the game. Excuse me, I had to clip it through. It's going to start the game blowing out to left field, and then you see it shifting. All right, more towards left center, and then center field. All right, next game here. Cardinals of the Pirates. Okay, blowing out. Same deal, and the wind's actually increasing throughout the game. Temperature of 52 and dropping as the game goes because you've got a chance of precipitation there towards the final 2 to 3 innings. Okay. All right. Feels like, again, could be a little colder, but dude, got wind. And it's pretty much the same deal. It's not 17 miles an hour, but we've got 10.5 and moving up. And then finally, Padres and the Athletics. Okay. Not huge. And look, the Giants, all right, it is basically the same deal here. All right, you've got essentially the same temperature, wind, all that, right? So, nice. I mean, 66, feels like, 62. You see it pretty close, right? Not a large drop off whatsoever. No chance of precipitation, solid. And then again, wind blowing out. And Greg, I know that this is your area, man. Weather's been nice, man. West Coast for the start of Major League Baseball. Like it's been nice pretty much for 2 weeks now. I think you got to mute.
It's been off and on with the rain a little bit out here, but yeah, I mean, the last 2 days, and I think today as well are going to hit the 70s out here. It's been warm, and Sacramento is only an even warmer microclimate than this. So like we've already been hammering the over in these games. Again, tonight, I just think that, Sacramento plays small. It is a pretty small place. And, it's a strange situation for everybody. But at the end of the day, hitters are not having any problem with with getting solid contact. And hitter's eye is big. They've covered that center field sign with where the Giants usually were. I think it's a pretty good spot to look. And, I was just talking to some buddies. I think we're going to try to get down there and get a perspective of it at some point. But, yeah, it seems to be a good hitter's park so far, and I think that'll continue.
Yeah, look, man. Logan said it best, man. A's and Sacktown has been an absolute run machine of a stadium, 100%, man. It absolutely has been. Liddy, 9.99 super chat. Liddy, you're the best, man. Thank you, bro. You are the absolute best. Always bringing it, man. You guys are the best crew in the damn game. Love you guys to death. All right, that's our weather here. Now, take a look at our batter versus pitcher matchups. These are the historicals, right? You see the batter on the left, see the pitcher on the right, and this is filtered by home runs, and this is all time, right? Doesn't always mean with said team that they're playing with, just how they have faced off against said pitching. Now, we will have full home run props on the afternoon show. We did not have them this morning in regards to all players because some were still figuring out pitching matchups as we start new series. So do not have that screen with the odds. We will have it at 3 p.m. Eastern today on Driving the Nightline, but did want to make sure that we at least got it started, all right, with our historicals here. So I'll pull it full screen so you can see Manny Machado, all right, against Luis Severino, 19 at bats, got 3 home runs against him. Look at your boy, man, right here, Big Willie against Hunter Green, got 2 home runs. Kevin Pillar against Justin Steele. Reese McGuire against Nathan Eovaldi. He's got a bomb. Matt McClain against Logan Webb, et cetera, et cetera. You see some names on here: Max Muncy, Adley Rutschman, Fernando Tatis, Teoscar Hernandez, he's been on a tear, Kyle Stovers, Jorge Polanco, Brandon Nimmo, all right, Spencer Torkelson, Christian Walker there. So kind of going off of our, look at the pitchers that you see mentioned really the most on here. Hunter Green, yep. Luis Severino, yep. All right. You see Logan Gilbert there even a couple times. So I'll pull this back down just a little bit. Like I said, we didn't have full numbers on the juice for home run props for players. We will have it at 3 p.m. Eastern today. But Greg, yeah, I throw it over to you, man. Anybody you see over here, batter-wise, that you just like to have a good day. Doesn't even mean home run.
Yeah, I mean, I think
yeah, go.
I think, Machado has a really good opportunity, like we've mentioned, a place that is already going to fly, a place that plays pretty small. And, quite frankly, he puts the ball in the air any amount of times. I think it's got an opportunity to leave the yard. So I think a Machado home run, Machado probably 2+ bases would be a good look. And especially, on the West Coast, I feel comfortable knowing what this weather is. And I think that there's a good opportunity, as well as, I would look at some Dodger options as well. I think that, coming back, what was the first struggle of the series for them, I guess, if you could call it that, I think that there's opportunity as well on that club.
Nice job. Nice job indeed. All right, Brad, now here's the question. Okay. All right. So you see the list here. All right. Which team are we going to hit a home run? All right. We'll figure it out, the player, all right, at 3 p.m. Eastern today, because I don't have juice for you, don't have odds, and that obviously counts into it. All right. The Padres against the A's, okay, or the Astros against the Mariners. All right. So you see the names: Padres, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, the Astros there. You've got Victor Cardellini and I can't read. Christian Walker. Sorry. Yeah. Who you going? Padres or Astros here?
Oh man, let's go Astros here at this bottom of the list. Christian Walker looks nice. He's got a double and a home run in 6 at bats versus this guy. So let's take maybe even Christian Walker here, but let's take the Stros.
Yeah, there we go, man. It's funny, man. Yesterday we got blasted on home run bets here on the show, and we had teams that scored a bunch of runs, right? Like the Astros, I think they scored 9 runs and they only hit 1 home run, right? I think today it should change a little bit. We should see a few more, and that's just by averages alone. All right, we have gone long enough. Let me get everybody out of here, but let's go over our picks one more time before we do. All right, Brad, throw it over to you, buddy. What you got?
We're headed to that Danish Super League, the Denmark Super League, in a matchup between Brøndby and AGF. We're taking both teams to score at -135.
Greg, hit us, buddy. What you got?
Going with the Dodgers team total over 4.5 today. Jumping on that Padres money line like we talked about in Sacramento. And then we are riding with the Giants on the money line as well.
I'm going with the Cardinals and Pirates over 8, -110. Rangers and Cubs over 6 at -110. And then in college basketball, the national championship, Florida and Houston under 141.5. Okay. We'll be live at 3 p.m. Eastern today for Drive the Nightline. We'll have even more college basketball prop bet games that we can get down on. We'll have Major League Baseball home runs all set up for you, and more Major League Baseball, you name it. All right, Brad, Greg, any final thoughts before we get out of here, boys? Brad?
Yeah, today the Icelandic, the Bastia Delen is back. We have 4 matches under our belt through week 1. What you need to know, last season, Iceland hit both teams to score and over 2.5 goals respectively at 65 and 67%. That is 2 out of every 3 matches are going to hit those totals. However, last season, at the start of the season, just like this season, we started that at 4-12 and 5-11. So Iceland, notoriously slow starting, high scoring league, started the season at 2-2 and 1-3. So we could see some low scorers throughout the next couple of weeks before the scoring kind of kicks in. There are 2 matches today, so just keep Iceland in the forefront of your mind, but maybe look to be cautious in the first couple of weeks as it is a high scoring league, but maybe just not yet.
Cautious? What the hell is that? No, I'm kidding. Great call. Great call, man. Greg, any final thoughts, buddy, before we get out of here?
Yeah, enjoy the championship game. It's been another fun March Madness, and exciting year ahead as we finish up basketball season. We'll be back at it overseas tonight with Korean baseball. It's been a successful season so far already, and we'll be back at those late nights. Quick addition for that: anybody who is riding or interested, the line will probably move. I would say do everything you can to fade the Hanwha Eagles tonight. They are a sinking ship who is continuing to fall day by day. Ownership's been all over the place. So Doosan Bears tonight are going to be an early play for us overseas in Korea.
All right, you know what? That's our show bet. That's our show team bet right there. Who's again? The Bears? What is it?
The Doosan Bears. They'll take on the Hanwha Eagles tonight. Goes at 2:30 tomorrow morning, and we'll be on that one. I think it's around 120, 125.
And my man Greg continues to never sleep. He's working 24 hours a day. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Hey, and get yourself ready, man. It's Masters Week. Masters Week as well. We're going to start breaking that down. Dude, and it stinks for anybody who had Monday practice round tickets today for it to get post, or at least for the audience not to be able to come in. That one's tough because they don't just give you another day. Those days are already done. Oh, that one's tough, man. I feel it for you. But all right, there we go. All right, everybody, best of luck. Let's cash these tickets. We're going to start this week off right. We're going to get ourselves right because in any sport, man, you can get yourself in a slump. The best thing to do, the only thing to do, all right, is climb your ass right out of it. And that's what we're going to do today. So everybody, best of luck. Let's cash these tickets. We'll see you at 3 p.m. Eastern. Good luck.
Who's got it better than us?